Welcome to CodeCrypt. My name is Joris Gruder. In this video, we'll be adding X++ binaries from third parties like ISVs to your source control repository, and then include them when packaging in your build pipeline. In the description below, you will find a link to the official documentation, as well as a link to my blog that accompanies this video. Let's dive right in. Okay, I'm here on a development machine. I have my ISV package here. So I will extract this right there. Okay. Then from a command line, I am going to go into the ISV, and then the update installer actually has a shortcut command called dev install, which will put this package on the machine. Now, what this will not do is DB synchronize and things like that, but you can take care of that in Visual Studio yourself. This is really the quickest way to just install a third-party package. I'm just going to do this, and we'll let it run for a second. This will just restart some services, put the files, put them back, and we're done. All right, the installation completed. It's about 5 minutes. Of course, this will depend on your virtual machine you're running this on. So let's start Visual Studio, and we'll see the ISV package show up. Now keep in mind that deployable packages only contain binaries, no source code. So in this case, you'll actually see the ISV show up. If I go down some ISV, you see it shows up in italics, and that's because there's actually no source code. So even though you can actually see what's in it, you can't view the source or anything because there's no source code. Anyways, now that the ISV is here, we can go to the Team Explorer window and open the Source Control Explorer. If you can't find it, you can always search the quick launch up top. And so under my trunk main metadata here, which is mapped to the package's local directory, I'm going to add items to folder. I obviously do not want to add any of the standard Microsoft code. I'm only interested in the ISV. Now when I hit next, you'll notice that it actually suggested to add only this one, which we actually don't need. I mean, you can check this in for sure, but the biggest thing is all the excluded items. Note that all of the binaries were sort of by default excluded. So what I'm going to do is I click here once and do Control A to select everything in this list. And then I say include items. There we go. And so now I'm sure the excluded items is 0. This is super important because if you forget anything, of course, later on you will be missing certain binaries and things won't work. So make sure to go to this excluded items tab and add everything. So just hit finish. And then we can just check the whole thing in. So go to pending changes, and this is looking at the wrong workspace, is it? There we go. And then here's all the stuff. So there's a bin folder. Now, if most ISVs, I mean, this is a simple test package. Most ISVs will have report, labels, any sort of web resources, all of those folders. You should definitely include because they're important. Labels will be in there as well. And this is outlined in the document that's linked here to talk about all the folders that are important. But for the most part, if you just got the package and install it, just add everything that's under this folder. All right, just going to check that in. Okay, we are now looking at the build definition. Now, if you have an old build definition, the generate packages step will likely look like this and end with verbose. The new newer build definition, which is in fact, PU 7 or above, actually has a couple of extra options. Now, the important one is really this include binaries. In this case, it's actually using a variable, which is over here. For the where is it, runtime package generation. So this is a skip. So by default, it's not skipping to create the package. Sorry, no, that's the package. What am I looking? Oh, include. Here we go. Include binaries. So by default, it will include new binaries. Now, if you have an old definition, you don't have any of that. Now, the easiest way is really you don't need to do anything with the variables. But what you can do, and I'm just going to copy paste it here, but it's outlined in the blog post. Really all you need to add, make sure there's a space after verbose, and then add the dash include binaries. Adding this will make sure that your old definition will actually include also those binaries that you just checked in. The code, the script itself that it's calling, will have the logic, but if it's not being told to include it, which is not the default, it will skip it. So make sure to add this if you don't see this in your generate packages step. If you're using the new pipeline, make sure that you go to the create deployable package step and explicitly add the path to your ISV that you've just checked in. In this case, I'm using the variable that has been provided with this pipeline to your metadata path, but you could use build.sources directory or any other path that you think you need, but this should work for anyone. Note that this also has an example here to exclude any packages that end in tests in case you may have any of those. Now note that if you're on 10.0.17, and you have this copy step, I encourage you to just right click and remove this task. This has caused a couple of issues with customers where the part of the ISV will be copied automatically, but not all of it. You want to make sure that you explicitly add it in here to the ISV so that all labels, reports, and everything will be included. The easiest way to actually check this is if you go to your pipeline and actually download the output. So for any of the builds that you've done, you can come here and look at the artifacts that were published. So you can just open this up, go to the drop, download the zip file. And then if you open the zip file up under AOS service, packages, files, you should see your ISV included. But if you open the zip file there as well, you should see all the files. So not just the bin, you should see this additional files. There should be a reports folder. If you have any web resources, there could be a lot of different things. So make sure this is not just a bin folder by itself. If you have all of these files, you're good to go. Thanks for watching. If you find this useful and would like more content in the future, please hit the like button and subscribe for future videos.